swords are drawn, chaos reigns on the battlefield. Thousands of soldiers march toward each other in an unrelenting fury. Blood is spilled, and the ground shakes beneath the weight of the charging armies. But why? A war over a bucket. But this was no ordinary war. It was a war fueled by pride, power, and the smallest of provocations. A conflict that would leave 2 cities in ruins. And it all started with a single wooden bucket. Yup, a wooden bucket. The story begins in the 14th century, in the heart of medieval Italy. Two powerful city-states, Bologna and Modena, found themselves locked in a bitter rivalry. Bologna, the wealthy and scholarly, was a proud Gulf city, loyal to the Pope. Modena, on the other hand, smaller but fierce, was a Ghibelline stronghold, devoted to the Holy Roman Emperor. For years, these neighbors had tension between them, always on the brink of war. But no one could have guessed that the spark that would ignite this simmering feud would be something so small, so trivial. One night in 1325, a group of Modenese soldiers slipped past Bologna's defenses. Their mission? To humiliate their rivals in the most bizarre way possible by stealing a wooden bucket from them. Yup, by stealing a bucket. A symbol of nothing, and yet it would come to mean everything. When the people of Bologna awoke, they were furious. How dare their rivals from Modena steal their bucket? It wasn't about the bucket itself, it was the insult. The sheer audacity to steal from them. The theft of the bucket quickly spiraled out of control. For Bologna, this was no longer just about the bucket. It was a matter of honor, of pride. They would not stand for such a disgrace. And so, the call for war went out. Thousands of men from both cities rallied to fight. The air was thick with tension, as Bologna raised a mighty army, more than 32,000 strong, while Modena, a smaller city, prepared just 7,000 warriors. The odds were impossible. On November 15th, 1325, the two forces met on the plains of Zappolino. The Bolognese army, confident in its numbers, advanced with their mighty strength. Modena was outnumbered nearly 5-1. But what they lacked in numbers, they made up for in strategy, discipline, and sheer determination. The Modenese commanders knew they couldn't win in a head-on clash. Instead, they planned to use the terrain to their advantage, positioning their forces on higher ground. They also anticipated their opponents, the Bolognese, would be overconfident and poorly coordinated because they were so large in numbers. Bologna's army, though large and powerful, was disorganized, and they marched with arrogance. Also, many of their soldiers were untrained conscripts and inexperienced. As the Bolognese charged, the Modenese forces held firm. They used their superior positioning and experience to repel wave after wave of the larger army's attacks. Arrows rained down from the Modenese archers, cutting down the Bolognese soldiers before they even reached the front lines. The once mighty Bolognese army began to break apart. Confusion and panic overtook their ranks as the Modenese pushed forward, exploiting every weakness in their enemies' lines. The Bolognese retreat was swift, and soon the entire army was in full retreat, their pride shattered. And so Modena won the war. A war fought over a wooden bucket. But for Modena, this victory was about more than just the bucket. It was a statement, a declaration that their city, small as it was, could stand tall against anyone. To this day, the bucket remains in Modena, kept in the Torre della Ghirlandina as a symbol of their triumph and as a reminder of the absurdity of war, you can also say. The War of the Oaken Bucket may seem ridiculous, but history is filled with moments like these. Moments where the smallest events led to the greatest consequences. Just like in this story, all it took was a single wooden bucket to spark an unforgettable chapter in the story of human pride and folly. What did you think of this story? Tell me in the comments and like the video while you're at it. And don't forget to subscribe for more crazy historical stories like this. See you in the next one.